whose ideological uh, understanding is being carried by the ruling dispensation now. They betrayed the freedom movement and they helped the British colonial government at that point of time to create hindrances of the independence movement. Now, as you all know, that the country was under 200 years of British colonial rule, and independence has come after a lot of struggle and sacrifices by the common people, the working class, peasantry, students, youth, women, even soldiers, of course. And a real independence movement started from 1857, as historians are telling, from the Sepoy Mutiny, and particularly with many twists and turns. It has also transformed into somewhat a different type of struggle since 1920, after the formation of the Communist Party of India. And on that very year, the first trade union center was also formed, the centenary we have already celebrated. Now, since then, the working class also played a very significant role towards the freedom movement. In many of the big movements they took part, and particularly from getting independence from the colonial rule in the 40s also, which coincided with the Great War of the Soviet Union over the Nazi forces. After 1945, the freedom movement get a tremendous momentum, and in the late 40s, many of the countries, including India, they got independent from the colonial rule. Of course, India was one of them. And for the last 75 years, it is India only, perhaps, who was liberated during that point of time, has been continuing with the democratic structure, with some elected government. Of course, there were many twists and turns. But it is due to attributable to the Constitution, which was framed after the independence, and which was finalized in 1949, 26 November, which was also legalized from 26 January 1950, whose basic fundamental pillar was the secularism, democracy, and the federal republic. And particularly all these pillars are now being attacked by this ruling system. So far as our own industry is concerned, we are mainly working in a public sector banking industry. And after many battles, many debates, from the mid-50s, an economy was formed, a mixed economy, supported by the Sweden, United States of Soviet Russia, USSR, and particularly the big industries, the manufacturing industry. At that point of time, the private sector, particularly the industrialists at that point of time, did not have so much resources to go for big infrastructure projects, to go for big manufacturing industries. And it was the country itself which is formed the public sector enterprises, which ultimately gave a tremendous help for a self-reliant economy of the independent India, and which is continuing for the last 75 years. And after some point of time, banks were also nationalized, and we know what human service has been rendered by the public sector banking. Now, along with attack on the Constitution and its important pillars, on the pillars of which this country is resting, the government is also hell-bent to demolish the public sector enterprises, including the public sector financial institutions. So at one point of time, when we are involving ourselves with the fight against the privatization of the banking industry, privatization of the public sector enterprises, it is equally important that we emphasize our attention on the maintenance of the character of the nation, to safeguard the Constitution, which is under severe attack from this ruling dispensation, who are trying to make this secular country into a Hindutva Rashtra. And it is also more important that it is the secular democratic fabric of the country which has guaranteed this democracy for continuing for these last 75 years. And we also understand that it is equally important. On one side, when we are concentrating on fighting on our own industry and particularly of our day-to-day problems and other facilities. And at the same time, we must not lose our focus on this attack on the democracy, on the people, and particularly dividing the people on communal lines. So this is a time, at the time of 75 years of independence, definitely we will again recollect our views and our findings on the independence movement, the sacrifices that have been made, and of course the sacrifices of our predecessors to maintain the character of the nation. There has been a lot of sacrifices at different points of time, as a result of which the country is still a secular democratic federal republic. And it is our historical responsibility to continue this struggle, if necessary, to make some more sacrifices to maintain the fabric of the country. So, on the eve of the 75 years of this independent India, we must rejuvenate ourselves with the freedom struggle that has been lost, with the sacrifices that have been made. And definitely from this, we will try to maintain our own historic role in the future so that we can also present our future generation a same secular democratic republic. And this is a battle which has to be fought. And for this, we are holding this webinar. We are fortunate enough to get Comrade K. Hemalatha as speaker of this webinar, president of CITU, and she needs no further introduction. You all know her. She is associated with the bank employees movement also, along with the broader working class and democratic movement of the country. So I think that by this webinar, we will definitely enrich ourselves and try to move ahead to save this country from this ruling dispensation for a better tomorrow. Over to you, Comrade President. I think we will be definitely enrich ourselves with this work. Thank you.
Now I request Comrade K. Hemalatha, the respected President of CITU, to address in this webinar. Comrade Hemalatha. What happened?
I think you ask her to unmute.
Comrade Hemalatha, madam, please unmute.
The system is not allowing Comrade Hemalatha to unmute. Please unmute.
Yes, Comrade, I think now I'm audible. Huh?
Yeah. Very well.
Okay, Comrade. So thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak in your webinar a few words about the CITU's understanding on this 75 years, observation of 75 years of understanding of independence. The government itself is observing the Azadi Ka in the name of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. They have been doing that, and with a lot of pomp and fanfare, lot of advertisements, and this thing, that slogan, Har Ghar Tiranga, they have, and they have given, today we came to know that flags have been given to the postal employees and they are asked to sell the flags to the people. And for the railway employees, they are giving flags and deducting from their money from their salaries. So,
गोल्ड मेडल के उपलक्ष्य में वहां पर केक काटा जाए ताकि मीडिया को दे सके। वो केक काट के
पप्पू का तबीयत खराब है, बुखार लगा हुआ।
आप चलिए फिर।
अरे नहीं चलो, कल सवेरे होगा, अभी काहे के लिए? सवेरे किया जाएगा, अभी करना जरूरी थोड़ा है।
आज का आज ही होगा,
नहीं कल हो जाएगा तो क्या है, कल करेंगे। सवेरे सब लोग रहेगा, ज्यादा लोग रहेंगे, सवेरे सब लोग रहेगा।
Comrades, some voices are coming.
नहीं बासी नहीं होगा।
Now it is okay. Now it's okay.
Comrade Hemalatha can continue.
Yes, comrade, there were some voices in between and I was muted again. I think now I am audible.
Yeah. Yes.
But I am hearing some voices.
Somebody
There
has
is
somebody
some
was speaking.
disturbance.
Yeah. Now it is okay.
Some
but you
news-
are not visible. Hemalatha is not visible. We can't see Hemalatha.
Please switch on the video, madam. Comrade,
My video is on. My video is on. My
No, it-
video is on.
But I don't find it on the screen. I am Pradeep here.
Yes, I find you. I find myself also.
Now it has come. Now
no,
it
your
has
video is not on, madam.
Now it is okay. Both
It is
video.
on.
Now it is on.
Huh.
Now it is not
So,
on. It is off. Your video is off.
Comrade, my video is on in my computer, in my mobile. It is on.
Comrade, both are working. Video and audio both are working. You please continue.
But
Yeah,
here it is showing red. Now it is okay.
maybe something
Now it is okay.
wrong there. Huh?
Now it is okay.
Okay, comrades. So what I was saying is that the government is spending lot of money and much on advertisement on this Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Ghar Ghar Tiranga, they are compelling the postal employees to sell flags. They are compelling the railway employees to buy flags, deducting the money from their wages, and all sorts of things. They are asking to change your DP, to take selfies, etc., etc. So this type of thing they are doing, and not only now, their idea is that in the coming 25 years, they will be observing as Amrit Kal towards the centenary of our independence. The remaining 25 years will be observed as Amrit Kal. We don't know if the government is in power, what they will do. So this is at a time when this government, the mentor, the guru of this, the guide of this BJP, the RSS, they had no role in independence struggle. Already comrades have told. I could not hear your president, but I heard to some extent Comrade Debashish speaking. He was explaining about how the role of the RSS, which they don't have any. they are trying to project themselves by appropriating some icons of independent struggle. Already they have tried, and now they are projecting as if Sardar Patel, actually Sardar Patel, who has banned RSS after the assassination of Gandhiji because of its role in his assassination. And he has been created. They have been trying to appropriate Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. They have been trying to appropriate so many other, even Bhagat Singh, Ambedkar. So this type of thing, those who don't have any role in independence struggle, now they are trying to project themselves as leaders of this movement, etc., etc. So actually this we have to understand, and the role, now they are projecting Savarkar. The only person they have to project is Savarkar, and that role of the Savarkar in the independence struggle, we all know how he has betrayed the, actually, except for the initial stages, when he wrote something about the 1857 First War of Independence and how Hindus and Muslims work together. He appreciated that, but later on, particularly after he was sentenced to the punishment, the cellular jail he was kept, then he started seeking mercy. So many mercy petitions he has written. He has said that if you release me, I will be more useful than you keep in me in jail, etc., etc. So how he has, all that we know. And he kept his word also. Today, what we are talking about, Hindutva, it is Savarkar who coined that word, Hindutva. And Hindutva is not anyway related to religion, Hindu faith or Hindu belief, that he himself has told that it is a political structure, a political project, and he advocated the division, the nation on the basis of religion. So this is the history, this is their role, and to that extent, he has formed Hindu Mahasabha, and Hindu Mahasabha has been instrumental in provoking riots and dividing the society, which actually the British were wanted to divide and rule, and that project the RSS has helped, the predecessor of the RSS have helped. So this is their role, and today they want to project themselves as the leaders of independent struggle. So this is what we need to expose to the people. And also, nation does not mean any soil. Nation means the people. That is how a poet was telling that nation doesn't mean soil, nation means people. And what was the role of the people in the independence struggle? Just now, Devashish was saying that people have fought for independence. So what was the role of the workers? What was the role of the peasants, the common people who have made immense sacrifices? During the independence struggle, we all know how the workers have fought in different industries, in different industrial centers, in Mumbai, in Bombay, today's Mumbai, in Calcutta, and other industrial centers also, all sectors, the textile workers, the railway workers, and the workers in the jute industry, other industries, etc., they have gone on so many struggles. Along with their own demands, they have also participated in the independent struggle, the calls of the independent movement, whatever calls were given by the leaders of the independent movement, workers participated in large numbers. So many strikes have taken place. Particularly, we all know how the Bombay working class has gone on 6-day strike against the 6 years imprisonment given to Tilak, 1 day each for 1 year of imprisonment. And also during the naval revolt, the revolt of the Royal Navy in Mumbai, and also which later spread to the different places, the workers have struck work. So the role of the working class is huge. Lakhs and lakhs of workers have participated. And not only the workers, the peasants. We all know the revolts in different parts of the country. The peasants were fighting against the zamindars, against the landlords, and against the royals, etc., who were supporting the British. And also the way the students have participated in the struggle, boycotting classes, the way the women have participated, following Gandhiji in different movements in large numbers, donating their jewelries and making sacrifices. So this way, all sections of the people in the urban areas, in the rural areas, men, women, workers, peasants, it is through these struggles that we got independence. And what was the vision? What we need to remember today when we are celebrating 75 of our independence, what was the vision of the common people? What did they want when they've made all these sacrifices in the independence struggle? So their vision is not just that the British are replaced by Indian rulers, but their vision that the exploitation will end, their suppression will end, they will have better lives, they, their children, the future generations will have better lives, decent employment, dignified living, illiteracy will be eradicated, hunger will be eradicated, employment will be generated, India will develop as an industrially advanced country, providing decent employment to the youth and the all eligible workers, etc. So this was the vision of the people who fought for independence. Now today, when we are observing the Amrit Mahotsav, 5 years of independence, how far have we achieved this? 75 years is not a small period. It is time enough to look back and what was the vision of our forefathers who fought for independence and what has been achieved today. Where are we today? And what is our path forward to realize the vision of the people who fought for independence? How do we move forward? That is the question before us. And with that objective, we have to analyze the situation the past years. Immediately after independence, there were some attempts to implement the vision or the aspirations, to see that the aspirations of the people are fulfilled to some extent. And that was reflected in the profound expression, rather to in our constitution. The constitution that was drafted, in which Ambedkar has played a major role. And in that, all these things are there. Just now, as Comrade has told, we have said that we the people, we have given ourselves the constitution, and the constitution says that India will be a socialist, secular republic. And then it will be social justice, freedom of expression, freedom of speech, freedom of practicing one's own, the religion of one's choice, the faith of one's choice. So all these freedoms are given. And then the directive principles. The directive principles also say that we have to, our policies should be formulated so that we'll have the right to work will be there, living wages will be there. If employment could not be found, unemployment allowance should be there. And so many things are there in the constitution. Actually, these reflected the aspirations of the people who fought for independence. And similarly, after independence, several legislations have been enacted. The Minimum Wages Act, the Industrial Disputes Act, the ESI, the EPF, the Bonus Act, and etc., etc. And Equal Remuneration Act, later the Contract Workers Act, Regulation, Abolition and Regularization Act. So these different acts, they were also enacted after independence. And as just now told, the life insurance, it was nationalized, the banks were nationalized, general insurance were nationalized. So all this, it is not just the government has done like that. These are all because the government had to do, because the people fought in the independence struggle with this vision. And they had to, at least to some extent, meet the people's vision, people's aspirations. Because of that, these were enacted. But at the same time, we also have to remember that though people have fought in the independence struggle, made huge sacrifices, it was not the people's representatives, actually the representatives of the toiling people who have led the independence struggle. So the left, the socialists, the communists, they have played a major role. They have contributed in mobilizing the peasants, the workers, and other sections. They have raised the demand for total independence first. All these things they have done, but at the same time, it was the Congress party that led the independence struggle. And the Congress party, as we all know, represented the interests of the big capitalists of our country. So this got reflected also in the implementation and also gradually the formulation of policies. So all these acts were enacted, but there were not much effort to ensure their implementation effectively. All these different legislations. And even during the 60s and 68s, we all know how the Congress, the government at that time, the government treated whenever people fought for their rights or fought for their benefits on their demands. In 1960, how the strike of the central government employees was suppressed, 1960-68. What were the demands? Demands were the minimum wages, DA, etc., etc. And 74, how the railway employees, railway workers strike was suppressed. That we all know. The demand was the working hours, the DA, wages, etc. So on these issues, when the workers have gone on strike, the ESMA was promulgated, ordinances were promulgated, they were put in jail, they were tortured, their families were tortured. So this was the attitude even in the beginning also, because the ruling classes, though they tried to incorporate certain aspirations of the people, at the same time, they wanted to protect their class interests also. So the people had to fight for the acts, whatever acts have been enacted for the constitutional benefits. It is because of the people's fight, and to get them implemented also, the working class had to fight again, making many sacrifices even after independence. And in fact, the policy, actually the industrial policy of 1948, which was passed at that time, that reflected more of the demands of the Bombay, the Bombay plan. Bombay plan that the industrialists have formulated before independence. They have sat and they have prepared a plan, and that was more or less incorporated in the industrial policy of the country. There was another vision. During the independence struggles, the socialists and the communists, they had a separate vision for the country, which reflected the interests of the workers and the common people. They wanted the Soviet, there was a model, the Soviet model was there, where unemployment was eradicated, where hunger and poverty have all brought down, where the country was advancing. And the working class, the leaders of the working class movement, the socialists, the communists, they wanted that that model should be implemented in our country. But because the leadership of the independence struggle was in the hands of the Congress, and the Congress reflected the interests of the big capitalists in our country, it was not accepted. Even when a private member's bill was introduced in the parliament, it was not accepted. It was the person who brought a Congress person, he was asked to withdraw that. So ultimately, our ruling classes have chosen this capitalist path because that suits them. It was not actually to meet the aspirations of the people, common people, the workers, etc. And gradually, during the course of time, it was the big capitalists who have benefited, as has already pointed out. At the time of independence, they did not, the big capitalists in our country, they did not have that resources to invest in the infrastructure and to develop them, because they wanted immediate profits. You cannot get immediate profits by investing huge amounts in the infrastructure and other things necessary for the self-reliant development of the country. So even there, it was said that where the big capitalists, they cannot make the investment in infrastructure, etc., the government will invest. It will be in the public sector. So the public sector was set up. As I told, constitution was there, the public sector was set up, the planning commission was there, and public sector has contributed in developing the self-reliance of our country, in having a balanced development even in the remote areas. Public sector units were set up, and then they generated employment. The areas were developed, created a lot of other employment also. So this way, whatever development was there, but at the same time, in this process, the big beneficiaries was the big capitalists of our country. They had amassed wealth, and in the process, when they were ready, and also during this time also, whenever there was any crisis, that crisis in the system, that was the burden of that was imposed on the workers. Wages were sought to be cut, DA was sought to be cut or withheld, or bonuses, etc., were sought to be withheld. So all these things, at the same time, the working class, they were trying to curtail their benefits, but the main beneficiaries were the big capitalists. And in 1991, when the crisis were there, the balance of payment crisis was there, at that time, the policy itself was changed according to the neoliberal method. That is neoliberalism, we all know. It is a phase or a method to address the crisis of that time. In other countries, in Latin America, in Europe, in other countries, it was implemented earlier. But in our country, it was formally initiated in 1991. So the entire thing, the focus also changed. And gradually from that time, the privatization, liberalization, then the attacks on the labor rights, they have all started. Because the main objective is to protect the profits of the big capitalists and attack the opposition to their policies, weaken the trade unions. That is one of the main objections. So the efforts to change labor laws, they were started. Since that time, they were there. They were talking about the need to change labor laws, labor law reforms, etc., etc. So successive governments, this was initiated by the Congress government, but later also, all these parties which represented the interests of the capitalist class, whether it is coalition government, whether it is BJP government, whether it was Congress government, since then all the governments have implemented the same policies. We all know about that. So now what is the change is that this BJP government is implementing them even more aggressively. Even more aggressively, because the crisis also has increased, and that burden they want to put on the common people, on the workers. And in addition to that, they are trying to impose the Hindutva. And what our understanding is that this, whenever there is crisis, the burden of the crisis is sought to be put on the shoulders of the working people. The unemployment is increasing, prices are increasing, the job losses are increasing, And all these are efforts to do that. And whenever it is there, whenever there is oppression, the main attack is to weaken the trade unions, weaken the opposition. And that is being implemented by the BJP government more aggressively. On the one hand, they are committed to neoliberalism. They are committed to capitalism and neoliberalism. They are committed to the interests of the promoting to the interests of the corporate classes. And the second thing is they are also committed to the Hindutva ideology, ideologically also. So this is now what the present government is doing after coming to power. We have seen how in the initial phases they have tried to implement that, but even more aggressively after they came to power for the second time. And to do this, that Hindutva project, they are trying to divide the working class and the toiling masses. This is a mechanism in the to divide the working class in different names. That is the tactics adopted by the ruling classes across the world in the capitalist system. In other countries, Europe, etc., it is the race, it is the migrant workers and other things. In our country, this Hindutva is being utilized to divide the people. The othering of this, that is the others, who are the real enemy, to divert the attention, to mislead the workers and to deceive them through slogans like nationalism, patriotism, etc., etc. Mainly what they are saying is that the enemy is the Muslims. So enemy is the minorities and the Muslims. So the anger is directed towards that. For that, they are saying the Hindus are in danger, Hindu faith is in danger, Hindu religion is in danger. So the real thing is that, as already Savarkar himself has said, Hindutva and Hinduism are not the same. Hinduism, actually, Savarkar himself, he was said that he was not a follower of any religion, he's an atheist. But he brought this forward, this political project of Hindutva, to divide the people on the basis of religion for a political, for the power of this majoritarian power. So this is the one of the things that on the basis of religion to divide the people. And at the same time, to weaken opposition, to suppress all the democratic rights, to suppress resistance, to suppress opposition, to suppress the struggles. The authoritarian tendencies and the fascistic tendencies are also, because of the RSS, we all know Savarkar and the RSS, they are all admirers of Nazism, of Hitler, of fascist Mussolini, etc. So they are followers of that, and they are trying to implement these authoritarian tendencies to suppress this. The constitutional rights all are being violated. No talk about equality, no talk about the freedom of practicing any religion. Muslim minorities are being attacked. We have seen in different these things, what they are doing in Karnataka, what they have done in Gujarat, what they are now doing in Karnataka, in the name of hijab, in the name of halal, in the name of love jihad, in the name of azan. So in everything that mainly is to attack the rights of the Muslims, create a fear, psychosis among them, and isolate them, destroy their trades and their incomes, etc. So this type of thing, so that created terror among them. This also is meant to create the impression that the enemy is there. The Hindus, the majority of people, you are not getting employment because you, the rulers, the so-called people that are appeasing, vote bank politics, the appeasement of Muslims, etc. Because of that, Hindus are not getting their due. So this type of thing they are trying to create, so to divide the people. And it is not only the minorities. Even the Dalits are being attacked. Today, how in the name of cow slaughter, how many places Dalits are being attacked? So the attacks on the Dalits are increasing, attacks on women are increasing, violence against women is increasing, attacks on the minorities are increasing. All this is one aspect. Second, the democratic rights. If you raise your voice, you are called, if you raise your demands, you are called Naxal, you are called terrorists. Then the different machinery of the states are also being used to suppress. Today, the use of enforcement directorate, everybody is afraid, particularly the other political parties. They are afraid to raise their voice that enforcement directorate will be used to suppress their voice. The use of income tax, the use of CPI, the use of national investigating agencies, all the different institutions of the state are being utilized to suppress dissent, oppress them. Whereas you know how the Bhima Koregaon, people who are fighting for the rights of the Dalits, they have been arrested, and even now they are in jail. We are celebrating on the one hand 75 years of independence in the name of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, and on the other hand, those who are fighting for the rights of the Dalits and the common people who are fighting for human rights, they are being kept in the jail. How Tista Setalwat has been arrested and she is in jail. How Sri Kumar is arrested. So all these things we find that, and it is not only they, in general, the trade union rights are also being attacked. We are not allowed to demonstrate. The COVID also has been utilized for that, to suppress. The workers are not allowed to hold demonstrations or go on strike. And now the labor codes are being changed. The labor laws which were formulated, which were enacted to meet the aspirations of the working class and the people who fought during independence, they were enacted soon after independence. And after the introduction of neoliberal policies, they have been trying to gradually dilute them. And now with the BJP in power, the labor laws have already been 29 labor laws have been made into 4 labor codes. One labor code on wages has been passed in 2019. In 2020, in the midst of the pandemic, and when the opposition MPs were not there in parliament, they were already suspended from parliament when they demanded division on the issue of these farm laws. So after that, the labor codes also were passed. So this way, and what are these labor codes? Basically, you all know about the details of the labor codes. I don't want to explain them, but the intention of the labor codes is mainly to weaken the trade union rights, to weaken the basic rights of organization and collective action of the working class, to disarm them. So that is the main intent. And whatever benefits in terms of minimum wages or social security benefits, in terms of working hours, workplace safety, etc., all these will be diluted. So that is why we are demanding that labor codes should be scrapped. So that is when the labor codes have been enacted, and privatization, the government is going ahead with the privatization spree. You have fought and you have been able till now that the bill for privatization of the banks is not introduced till now. Electricity privatization bill that they have already introduced, despite giving assurance to the farmers. During the farmers' struggle, that was one of their main demands, that the electricity bill should be withdrawn. They have assured the farmers, the SKM, Sanyukta Kisan Morcha, that without consulting the farmers, they will not introduce the bill in the parliament. But they have introduced the bill without any consultation, without any discussion with the farmers. They have introduced the bill, and today there was a very big mobilization. The SKM has given the call that when it is introduced, they will go on mobilization. The electricity employees also, unitedly, the engineers and all unions, they have come together and they have held big demonstrations. And ultimately, because of all this pressure and also the pressure from the political parties in parliament, they have been compelled to give it to the Parliamentary Standing Committee for examination. So this also they are not been doing since the recent times. All the bills were introduced and passed even without any discussion. Most of the bills were being passed. So this way, that how to promote there. On the one hand, the people's livelihoods are being attacked. There is no discussion even in the Parliament. We have seen now how the MPs were not allowed to discuss on the burning issues of the people. Unemployment is increasing, prices are increasing. The government is not doing anything, but they are not even allowing the discussion on these issues in Parliament. So the Parliament, the rights of MPs, unprecedentedly, 27 MPs have been suspended from Parliament during this session. So MPs' rights are also being curtailed. Discussions are not allowed in the Parliament. Constitutional rights are being attacked. Basic human rights, basic democratic rights are being attacked. So all these things are meant mainly to bulldoze their policies, the policies which are beneficial. You all know how they have enacted the this insolvency and bankruptcy, this thing, and how they are giving benefits to the big corporates on their loans, giving concessions to them, having haircuts, etc., so that they need not pay the entire thing. So all these things, the big corporates are being given benefits, concessions, etc. At the same time, for the common people, their livelihoods are coming down. Now, during this period, again, the inequalities have increased. The Constitution talks about bringing down inequalities, that the policy should be directed to bring down the inequalities. But now what has happened under this government's rule? Inequalities have increased like anything. Poverty has again increased. Working people, today, the working people, particularly in the unorganized sector, they are not able to live by doing one job. In the rural areas, recently in some states, some surveys have been conducted by the CITU, where we found that in the rural areas, work in agriculture is coming down. Expenditure on Manrega has been curtailed. Workers who are doing the Manrega jobs, they are not being paid. The work is not there even for 15 days in a year. Actually, 100 days of job has to be given. But even 15 days job they are not getting. And even for the work they have done for 3 months and 4 months, they are not being paid. So that is the situation. In the rural areas, because agriculture is in crisis, there is no job, no work in agriculture. But at the same time, in the urban areas also, there is no work. Manufacturing work is not increasing. Whatever jobs the workers are doing, they are mostly desperate, out of destitution, self-employment, selling vegetables or doing some odd works, etc. No decent work. The government is saying that the social security code will be applicable to the gig workers also. But there is what type of welfare benefits they will get when they are not even recognized as workers? So that is the question. No allotment has been made. So the government is trying to deceive, this government is trying to deceive the people, all for the benefits of the big capitalists, big corporates. They are talking about nationalism, patriotism, etc. But it is not just for the benefit of our country. They are even bringing benefits to the multinational corporations and monopoly companies, foreign monopoly companies also. They are giving orders. So this way, our self-reliant economy, our manufacturing capacities, they're all being curtailed, and big corporates, foreign corporates are also being favored. So that is the policy. So that reflects actually the policies, the corporate friendly policies of the government, this BJP government, which is corporate friendly and also wedded to Hindutva. So this corporate communal nexus that they are being that they are implementing to favor the corporates, and in that, to weaken the struggle, to divide the people, all these methods are being implemented. So what we need to understand is that the response of this government, the policies that are being implemented are desperate attempts of the system of the ruling classes to preserve the system which is in crisis. It is the crisis was there even before the pandemic. Since 2008, they have been saying that the crisis is receding, or there are some green shoots, economy is growing, etc., etc., but it has never happened. And the pandemic has worsened the situation. Even now, it has not even reached to the pre-pandemic levels. So employment, decent employment is not there. The government is not accepting that we are in recession. But in many places, many economists are saying that recession is there. In US, recession is there, they are saying. So whatever, whether it is recession or whatever term you may give, the thing is that the people are suffering. It is the people, the unemployment, there is no solution to this in this system. Despite the huge resources today, despite the wealth that has been created by the working people today, which is available, and wealth is concentrated in the hands of a few. A couple of people are able to go to space on tourism, spend there for 11 minutes, etc. Whereas people are dying. Every minute, 11 people are dying in the world. So that is the situation, the level of concentration of wealth today. And in our country also, that is the same thing. So this is what we have to address today. When we are observing 75 years of independence, the dreams and the vision of those of our forefathers who fought for independence, that is not any way near of achieving. We are very, very far from that. And whatever we have achieved immediately after independence, now all that is also being taken away because of this system. This is what we need to. We are talking about protecting the constitution, protect our democratic rights, protect our secularism. All these things are very much necessary. And to protect that, how to protect that? We have to understand the role of the working class in that. It is because of the struggles of the working class and the common people, whatever we have achieved. And again, to protect that, the working class and the common people have to take, particularly the working class has to take the lead in that struggle. But today, we cannot claim that our members, whether it is in BAFI or whether it is in the CITU or in any other organization, which are comparatively militant, comparatively progressive sections, committed to a revolutionary ideology with an understanding the need to change the society, even our members are also falling victims to this type of ideology. Today, the influence of RSS is increasing among the employees and the working class. Even recently, I have gone to Telangana. There they were saying a lot of struggles are there. People are participating in struggles, and through these struggles, they have been able to achieve something. They are appreciating the role of the CITU, but at the same time, they are angry with the TRS. But what is the alternative? They see BJP as the alternative. And I don't think that is an isolated case or isolated state. In many areas, even where we are strong, even there, our members are also increasingly falling victims to the ideology of the RSS, because they work in many ways. They go to the grassroots, they talk to the women, to the children, they organize many other programs, the cultural activities, the festivals, etc., etc. And then through them, they try to create an impression that Hinduism and Hindutva are the same, which is not. That is what I think we have to explain to the people. When we have to go to the people, we have to fight on their immediate issues, workplace issues on their wages, on their benefits, on their workplace rights, against privatization. And at the same time, we have also to fight against the communal ideology, the danger of, particularly because RSS, BJP is in power, the danger of BJP, RSS, and the Hindutva communal forces. But that doesn't mean that the other fundamentalism or the religious fundamentalists are less dangerous. One will feed into the other. When majority communalism rises, there will be rise in the minority communalism, minority fundamentalism also. That is also we are seeing. So all types of fundamentalism, communalism, we have to fight, because if all are the same. When it comes to the rights of the workers, when it comes to the policies, there is not difference between them. When it comes to the attacks on women, when it comes to the attack of the democratic rights, etc., they're all the same. And on the policies also, there is not much of a difference. So all types of communalism also we have to fight. And we have to explain to the people the link between their immediate issues and the policies that are being followed by the government, pursued by the government. Because what we see today, recently, LIC under the leadership of our All India Insurance Employees Association, they fought against the IPO in LIC, they fought against privatization, they are always participating in all the struggles and strikes, etc. But at the same time, many of them are not averse to the policies. They have also purchased the shares in LIC, which was offered at a comparatively lesser price to them. So the link between the issues and the policies also we have to explain. And then what are the politics behind these policies? What are the politics that determine these policies? The Congress is also has been in the Congress has initiated the neoliberal policies in the initial stages. Under the Congress leadership, the present path has been decided, and wherever they are in power, they are implementing the same policies. The various regional parties are also implementing the same policies. So who are the actual friends of the working class who are supporting these policies and who are opposing these policies? In the parliament, who are opposing these policies? When the code on wages came, when there was division, who made the amendments and who supported the demands of the workers, who tried to raise the demands of the workers within the parliament? In the electricity privatization, in different privatization. So this we have to, who are with the workers in the parliament, outside the parliament, which political force is supporting which policies, implementing which policies. Unless people are made aware of that, what we are seeing today is that they are participating in the strikes, they are participating in the struggles on their own immediate demands. Also, in the joint struggles, in the strikes, we have been saying that more and more people are participating in the strikes. But at the same time, when it comes to the elections, when it comes to deciding who will govern the country, the same parties are coming into power. So we have to, what the BJP government today wants is to project the other as the enemy, to divert the attention. What we need to project is to project the policies which are against the interests of the workers as the enemies. Those who are implementing the policies which are against the interests of the workers as the real enemies, and we have to expose this politics also. I think that is the major task before us in this 75th year of independence. Will be completing 75 years in a few days. So when we are observing this 75 years of independence, it is this that we need to explain to the workers, reach to the workers. And along with the workers, we also have to explain to the common people. because today the government is trying, it may not be so serious in the government banking sector, but also in the banking sector it is there. But in many areas, like state government, central government, etc., even telecom, BSNL, the government is trying to, through its policies, it is trying to weaken those sectors. Unemployment is there, job vacancies are there, but pressure is there on the employees. But at the same time, the government is trying to project that the employees, they are having high wages and they are lazy, they are not working, they are not sincere, they are corrupt, etc., etc. So create a divide between the common people and the workers. So this, the employees, so this also we have to consciously try to bridge. Several commendable efforts have already been made by our unions, like against the privatization, how BEFI has conducted signature campaign and going to the people, explain the impact of this privatization, etc., on the common people. Our insurance comrades have also done. Telecom also, BSNL employees union also has done, but I think this has to be increased several times so that we can unite the people more and more behind the demands. As of now, the support of the common people to the struggles of the joint trade union platform has increased, particularly when during this farmer struggle, the working class has extended full support to the farmer struggle, physically participated, financially supported. So that has created a feeling of solidarity between these two sections. But this has to be taken much more among the people and exposing the policies and the politics of the BJP government, the danger of their Hindutva communal policies, how they divide the people, how it is necessary to unite the people, strengthen the unity and intensify the struggle. And that is the only way to realize the dreams and the vision of the working class, our forefathers who made immense sacrifices, sacrificed the entire thing, their lives, their living conditions, their properties. I think that will be the proper way to ensure that their dreams are realized, to expose the system and mobilize the people. Thank you, comrades.
Comrades, we will be concluding this session within a few minutes. When we are observing the 75th year of independence, our Prime Minister is claiming on one side that India is the motherland of democracy. Comrade Hemalatha was narrating in detail how democracy is being butchered and undermined by the present regime, and how the democratic rights of the people are being attacked. The second claim by the Prime Minister is that this government is trying to fulfill the dreams of the freedom fighters. What was the dreams? What were the dreams of the freedom fighters? And how those dreams were being undermined by the present regime by putting the lives of the people, majority of the people, in misery. That is also very well explained by Comrade Hemalatha. The task of the working class is not easy because we are under a regime which is defined as a totalitarian regime. What is a totalitarian regime? That is being defined in history. It will have a dual state. One is a normative state and another is a prerogative state. What is normative? Yes, we are having democracy. We are having election in every 5 years to the assemblies, to the parliament, to the local body. We are having running the parliament. We are running the state assembly. But how the business of the parliament is being conducted? How the people's representative are being purchased? how the verdict of the people is being thrown away into the winds under this regime. That is very well explained by Comrade Hemalatha. This is the character of the normative government. The character of the prerogative government. It is an institutionalized lawlessness. You take every institutions of the democracy. What is the role of the judiciary? When the very fundamental issues of the constitution is being violated, and the constitution bench of the Supreme Court is still on the issue of Article 370, which was abolished in 2019, August 5. So this is the character of this government. During the 75 years of the independence of this country, what we have witnessed, whatever may be the political alignment that was in governance, they were serving the interest of the monopoly capital. Now the capitalism is facing an unprecedented crisis in its history, and they are trying to exploit the labor in a more intensified manner. That is why our country is also under the regime of a neo-fascist, neoliberal alliance. I just draw an example. We are having two neighboring countries. Sri Lanka got independent in 1948. What is the state of affairs in Sri Lanka? I need not explain. Another neighboring country, China, became independent in 1949. Where is China now? It is competing to become the #1 economic power in the world. So whether the system has any role in defining the future of the people, that is the thing to be debated. Yes, if we want to fulfill the dreams of our freedom fighters, the responsibility falls on the shoulders of the working class of this country. The working class has done its due role during the freedom struggle. And during this past 75 years, whatever little progress the common people have in their lives, we can see it is correlated to the struggle led by the working class. Now a time has come, the working class has to come to the leadership of the masses to change the regime, to change the system. That is the call of the hour. That is the message the 75th year of independence of this country is giving to the masses of this country. Now I request Comrade Pradeep Biswas, our Vice President, to propose formal vote of thanks. Pradeep da.
Comrade Pradipda is disconnected. You ask Comrade CP Krishnan.
CPK,
No, Pradeep the Jai. Just no Pradeep the Jai.
okay. Pradeep da, you are requested to propose formal vote of thanks. Pradeep da, can you hear me? Pradeep da, please unmute.
No, my link is not working properly. You ask Chiranjit to do it.
Now you are audible. Now you are audible. You can speak. Or else, Comrade Chiranjit, please come forward. Chiranjit God.
Yes, comrade. This is a very important occasion that we have Comrade Hemalatha, President CITU, addressing our webinar for the first time, and that too in the 75th year of independence. Now, what Comrade Hemalatha spoke at this occasion is no doubt a very important, most important, and I think all of us have followed. I have seen the Facebook live streaming also. There, nearly 100 persons have been following the speech. So, on behalf of our Bank Employees Federation of India, I propose my vote of thanks to Comrade Hemalatha, who, despite all the problems at the when we started, there were some link problems, but somehow thanking all of you that we could overcome that, and he was able to, she was able to deliver her address in a proper way, and we have taken every sides. We have one more webinar that will be on the 22nd. That will be also on the 75th year of independence, and that will be addressed by a professor of history. And we request all of you to join us in that webinar also. And with that, I will request Comrade Hemalatha that in future also we need her guidance, we need her to participate in our webinars. Our members will be eager to hear from her, and I thank all of you who have participated in this webinar. I thank the Kerala BFI who have hosted this webinar in a very successful manner, and with that I request my president to conclude the session of webinar today. That's all.
Okay, comrades, once again, thanking you all. Today's program is concluded. Thank you.